light of God, a oneness with all creation. In this exquisite, perfect moment, everything is pointing to the light and beauty that is within and without. The same beauty that is within is the universe. The universe that is truly within you. When the perception of a separate self is released, and the awareness that all is love merges from its hiding place, emerges from its hiding place. Every beloved that has believed themselves to be separate and without will realize that there never was any separation, and that the universe in the oneness is within your divine spirit. This cannot be understood with the mind that made up separation, but can be accepted, happily accepted, as the reality of love. The return to truth, the return to love, the return to peace, the return to harmony. And the realization that all that truly exists is the creation of all life, eternally present, eternally the oneness of God. Every moment of every day, the opportunity, the only real purpose, no matter what you have made up about purposes, thinking that you have things to accomplish, things to fix, things to conquer. None of this is real. Only the helpfulness of the service of love has any purpose. The willingness to remember and to focus and to live in that exquisite dedication and devotion, that as you offer love consciously every moment, that you have this opportunity of consciously offering love without conditions in every moment. And that every moment that you consciously say yes, healing occurs, and an element of illusion falls away. The power is within you, within your choice, moment to moment, to truly want to be guided, to truly want to be led. And to joyfully surrender the concepts of the past, the habits of the past, the thoughts of the past that have no reality and no purpose except to give you a false illusion that what you think means something, that what you think you know means something. To accept that the happiness and joy of being in the heart and mind of God is where you truly belong. With only thoughts of love. With only the thought that is love. Nothing thought up. Nothing self-conceptualized. Releasing all beliefs of opinions, assessments, observations, conclusions, habits, for sure, but nothing of love there. Nothing of service there. Nothing of peace there. And moment to moment, the firmness, dedication, and devotion to return in every moment, if there has been any wandering into the pain of separation, the willingness to come back, begin again, remember love, surrender to love, serve love, and ask the powerful, transformational question: what would you have me say, dear Lord? What would you have me think? What would you have me focus on? What would be most helpful? Show me the way. Listening, available, with the heart open, happy, joyful to be in the communion of choice with love itself. Moment to moment, surrendering this day and really questioning, what did I think I knew today? What mistaken thoughts did I have that held me in the belief of separation? Did I breathe with God today? Did I dance with God today? Did I sing with God today? Did I speak the words of God today? Did I bless with God today? The willingness to be shown what was in the way today. Where was my attention? And where was my intention? So that I can surrender that mistaken choice and return. Return to following. I will follow. I will follow your lead, dear God. I will follow the spirit of love. I will listen. I will trust. I will accept. I will join the joy of a new life. The promise that in my yes, all healing is guaranteed. And the acceptance that healing is remembering. And every moment is this divine opportunity to invite the miracles of love to transform, open my heart, to accept and invite the miracles of love to bless every beloved that has walked this earth, walking the earth in the belief of separation, but longing to remember. And in every moment, in this divine opportunity to serve humanity, to serve creation, the willingness to breathe, breathing deeply and fully in this moment, returning to that deep connection of love, of harmony, of joy, through the sacred breath. And as you breathe deeply and fully, bringing sacred breath into the heart chakra, and as you release the breath, releasing all beliefs of limitation and separation, and willing to be without thought, willing to center in the heart, open, connecting and extending love, and breathing. Willingness to bring holy breath into all the energy bodies. The willingness to have the Holy Spirit cleanse with love, with light, all the energy bodies that have been held in possible contraction that comes through the perception of knowing. That every thought that you have of what you think you know, that every thought that you have of conclusions, judgments, assessments, brings a contraction into the energy bodies of the belief of separation. And now in this moment, the opportunity, the dedication to begin again. That this moment is new, and in this moment, all can be surrendered. Breathing, saying yes. I'm willing for these energy bodies to be filled with the light of love, open, blessing, extending love, relaxing, resting in God, with the center being the awareness that there is a willingness to surrender all concepts that there can be any problem, that there is any difficulty, and to accept deeply that any idea of difficulty is coming from the mind, that comes from the past. what you think you know of the past is what is calling to be healed. The willingness to be the innocent child of love. Honest. Happy. Peaceful. Naturally, because this is all that there truly is. Breathing and surrendering the future into the hands of God. Willing for the future to be unlike the past. Surrendering the future into the hands of God and allowing the future to unfold in God's hands. No plans, no concepts of how things should be or how things will be, or fantasies that want to fill the space of what is perceived as the future but is actually the past. Every fantasy being of the past. And in this fantasy being projected into the past and into the future, recognizing and accepting, if I project the past into the future, I will be in the same misery that I was in the past. Surrendering now all concerns, all thoughts of separation, and coming in trust, in faith, surrendering. Allowing and inviting. And continuing to breathe deeply and fully, affirming that here, in the infinite circle of love, we are one. And accepting that this infinite circle of love encompasses all of humanity, all creation, the infinite circle of love, which includes all beloveds who are no longer in the incarnation of a body, but that this circle of love, this circle of life, is truly infinite and has no beginning and no end, and leaves no one out. That everyone, as the one, is the light of God. Accepting and embracing the forgiveness of the concept of separation. The forgiveness of all ideas of holding anyone as a separate identity, as a separate role, as a separate relationship, but bringing holiness, wholeness, and love to all creation. Breathing deeply, affirming that this universe is all love. That there is nothing that exists that is not the beauty and perfection of all love. Every star, the moon, the sun, the wind, the earth itself, all the light of God, not as you think it is, but in its eternal light, all love. The willingness to see through divine vision the holy union of all creation. And breathing and affirming this sanctuary is filled with love because love is all that exists. And in this moment, the willingness to invite all beloveds that you have believed to be separate from God, bringing every beloved that you have ever known into the heart of God in this moment, blessing, remembering the innocence, accepting the innocence of love. Affirming in this moment that there is only one presence here. It is the life force of God. Everything of creation is within this life force that is eternal, never changing, flawless, eternal light. And within this life force, we live and move and breathe as we remember the holiness, the beauty, the perfection of one heart. Allow this prayer to vibrate through your energy bodies, breaking through into the heart, recognizing that within this prayer, divine beings are being called to serve love's remembering and to bring the grace and blessings of light into your awareness. To accept that all divine beings are always present. You are never alone. You are never without. And the guidance of these divine beings is patiently waiting for an invitation. The invitation to follow the light. 1 minute to midnight, and the sky is turning black. 1 minute to midnight, and there's no turning back. I'm going home, I'm going home, I'm going home to stay. 1 minute to midnight, and my train is pulling in. 1 minute to midnight, when my new life will begin. Love calls me home, love calls me home, love calls me home for good. 1 minute to midnight, and the bells begin to chime. 1 minute to midnight, and they tell me that it's time to turn toward the light, turn toward the light, turn toward the light of my home. 1 minute to midnight, as I bandage up my heart. 1 minute to midnight, as I let the healing start. I will receive, I will receive, I will receive my welcome home. to turn toward the light and no longer want the temptation of a separate mind that has made a world of differences, that has made a world of levels and degrees and problems. The willingness to return and come home to the truth of love, where divine equality lives. O my holy Queen Mother, may you come to us in this moment, and as you do, please open my heart. To open my heart so that I can see with pure vision the truth of all life. Come to guide my life as I listen, as I want to be directed, as I want to follow. Come to give light to every beloved who calls to you. Come to offer the truth to all beloveds in the journey of love. Come to give light to those who can't see and who stay in darkness through fear. Come to give light to the heart. Open the heart, dear Mother, dear Father. Open the heart. Here I receive you and I prostrate myself at your feet. My heart I give to you, and I ask you for deeper faith, for deeper trust, to open to the light itself. I ask you for faith here within my heart. I ask you to show me the depths of faith that will be most helpful. I ask you for this light, O Blessed Mother. Please guide us, for all of us, to come to the door, to the divine door of love itself. And that we bring love with us, healed as we walk through the door of love. Oh, minha Senhora Mãe, Senhora da Conceição, venha agora conosco, abrir meu coração para eu poder ver. Vem guia minha vida, ó Virgem da Conceição. Vem dar luz aos teus filhos, vem proteger os meus irmãos. Vem dar luz aos que não vem dar luz ao coração. Aqui a te recebo, prostrado aos vossos pés. Meu coração te dou, te peço a minha fé, te peço a minha fé, dentro do meu coração, te peço a minha luz, ó Virgem da Conceição. Guiar os meus irmãos, para todos juntos chegar no porto divino, depois que soubemos o amar. I ask you for faith. It is in the asking, the everyday asking, all day long asking. Deepen my faith. divine light. Deepen my awareness of love and what I see, and my willingness to see through the heart. I ask with my heart to deepen my faith, that I want to leave this trance of separation. I ask you for the faith to walk the path of courage, of light, of love. I ask for the courage to deepen my faith, my trust in the truth, and to step away from the images that I've made, the concepts that I've held, the perceptions that I've projected onto the world. I call for release from these false identities, and I ask for the release of all beloveds as I say yes, and bring all beloveds with me into my heart, remembering the innocence and the purity and the light that is the only truth of all creation. Page 92. Stop calling me a pregnant woman. My master once entered a phase that whenever I would see him, he would say, "Hafiz, how did you ever become a pregnant woman?" And I would reply, "My dear master, you must be speaking the truth, but all of what you say is a mystery to me." Many months passed by in his blessed company, but one day I lost my patience upon hearing that odd refrain and blurted out, "Stop calling me a pregnant woman." And the master replied, "Someday, my sweet Hafiz, all the nonsense in your brain will dry up, like a stagnant pool of water beneath the sun. Though if you want to know the truth, I can so clearly see that God has made love with you, and the whole universe is germinating inside your belly. And wonderful words, enlightening words of love will take birth from you and be cradled against thousands of hearts. The journey of love. This is the journey of love. One of the essential elements of remembering is to accept the mysteries of the truth. What the ego loves to do with its time is to constantly be figuring things out, even spiritual things. In that upside down relationship, all time is then spent in a project of trying to figure things out, when love is always simple. Love is uncomplicated. Hafiz and his beloved master were in a beautiful relationship that pushed Hafiz past his knowing into his acceptance. Why is acceptance so powerful? Acceptance is a place of trust. The ego likes to battle with the truth, likes to have its opinions, likes to take spiritual truths and play a game, trying to twist around the truth, to work in the world, and so the ego can have its way. Bargaining, trying to bargain with the truth is useless, but the ego will continue to try to extract truths that it likes, that fit into its schedule, that fit into its game plan. This is the purpose of the master calling Hafiz a pregnant woman. To shake up this strategy of knowing, of confidence in the strategy, and to push up against the ego's hatred of not knowing. Don't call me a pregnant woman. Don't tell me what to do. Leave me alone while I do my thing. And then I'll come back upset when I'm miserable. This is the game that the ego plays. But love is calling to truly surrender everything that you thought you knew. Stop calling me a pregnant woman because I can't be a pregnant woman. Who says? Your mind? You think you know? You think you know the mysteries of the universe? This is the place of humility. This is the place of surrender and faith. That in no way could you have anticipated or foreseen the depth of faith and surrender that you would be called to. Not because it's a sacrifice, but because everything that you have thought you knew has been made up. And to enter into your divine truth of who you are and who you have always been. This separate self that's been made is being called to be let go. Being called to be surrendered into the hands of God. Even those words, they don't really, there's no way that those words can hold the power of your surrender. That the power of your surrender opens the door to the power of the universe. And that power of the universe contains all healing light. This cannot be in any way fathomed by an idea within the belief of separation. That's why faith and trust is so essential. It can't be sidestepped. It can't be avoided. And another strategy take its place of, I've got another idea. I'm going to keep my knowing. And I'm going to pray a lot. I'm going to talk a lot about God. But I don't want to surrender. I don't want to have my faith deepen and trust in a power that I'm not privy to in this moment, even though you're totally privy to it in your willingness. But that takes patience, because there is a space of not knowing, of trust, that is essential. And the surrender of what you think you know is what the ego is the most afraid of. So every time you begin to surrender in the deceiving divisiveness of the ego, it engenders fear. It engenders fear, and it starts showing you a slideshow of the past. Remember the last time you trusted? How did that work out? That's the ego's voice. You opened and trusted in this world? How did that work out? And everybody retreats back into their knowing. Oh, my Father, give me strength, give me courage on this road to be a child of yours on earth and walk the path that the Masters showed. This is Hafiz with that same prayer, conveying that in his stubbornness, he lost patience with his master because he didn't get it, and he didn't like what the master was saying. His ego didn't like being challenged, didn't like being pushed. Leave me alone in what I know. I will accept teachings that I approve of. But it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And the Master recognized this, and with his divine love for Hafiz and all humanity, pushed Hafiz pushing him by calling him a pregnant woman, so that he would become irritated, so that he would finally show the ego resistance, so that it could be surrendered. And then the master said, "Someday, my sweet Hafiz, all the nonsense in your brain will dry up, like a stagnant pool of water beneath the sun. And this must be." And it is for every beloved to accept that the nonsense in your brain is like stagnant water. It's undrinkable. It has no healing power within it. It has no love within it. It is like a stagnant pool of water, not because you are condemned, but because it has no reality. It has no truth. To accept that the thoughts that are going on in the mind unconsciously, for the most part, sometimes they're even thought to be thought about. You have opinions about something that's happening, something that you think is happening, and you assess it and you judge it so quickly that it's not possible that you asked if this was truly helpful. You look to your mind for authenticity, and that is where all the pain is. Every master is offering love, love in truth, love in the calling to all of humanity to let the sun dry up that stagnant pool of water that has been called your brain, and truly begin the journey of recognizing that God has made love with you, that God created you in that love, and that the whole universe is germinating within you. How can you meet this divine oneness when you're busy with thoughts about what you, the little self, knows over and over and over again, just filling up space under the guise that you've developed a good system of knowing, and yet it has never worked for you. It has never brought you to peace. It has never brought you to harmony and joy. And that is your awareness line that is drawn for you to acknowledge. What I've made out of my knowing has not brought me to peace and joy and harmony. It hasn't brought me out of the sense that I am separate and without. But the ego's game, and this is why it's like stagnant water, and you pray for it to dry up. The game that it's played is keep seeking, keep believing your mind. Keep believing you think you know something. Because the ego says, oh, if you don't know this, if it isn't acknowledged and heralded as really important, you're being judged unfairly. You're being disrespected. You're being unseen. And you try to use your brain, your knowing from the past, to prove your worth. And it can't be proven because your worth isn't coming from an identity of separation. Your worth is as the light of God. And it has complete equality with all creation. It's everything and it's nothing, but there's nothing to get from the mind that is making up separation. Your evidence is in the identity of being a body. This is your main evidence field. It proves to you every day that you are separate. You buy that proof every day when you look at yourself as a body. Temporary, can be destroyed in a nanosecond, and you battle. God is calling you to accept that God love is germinating within you, waiting to be recognized as the divine spirit, waiting to realize the whole universe is within, to accept. You can't figure this out. How can the whole universe be within me when I look out at the universe and see a universe that is filled with billions of stars? How can those stars be germinating within me? Keep trying to use your mind. It will get you absolutely nowhere. But the wisdom, the light of divine awareness, when you accept and you follow and you let God lead you into love, dropping away and surrendering all that you made up, that's what you awaken to. You awaken to this divine truth of brilliance, of love that cannot be understood. It can't be capsulized. It can't be explained. It's not possible. But the glory, the grace, the beauty, it's who you are. Completely. The whole universe is germinating within. And wonderful words, such enlightening words, will take birth from you. But they're not coming from you. They're not coming from something you thought you knew. They're not about a concept. They're your heart opening and bursting with stardust, completely filling the universe with love, and the words spilling from that have no personal agenda or any concept of well, wasn't that great what I just said? Who would be the I that would be saying it or thinking that you said it? Make me an instrument of thy peace. Let me be the flute where the words of love and the truth of love sing through. Let this small, fearful, limited identity that I made up, let it disappear. And let the truth come into awareness. Let that be your prayer. The willingness to lay down self-deception. Because all of the ideas of knowing is self-deception. It's self-hatred. Mm-hmm. You could wake up in the morning with thoughts in your mind of what you think you know. You might as well say to yourself, oh, we're going to have a day of self-hatred. This is what I choose. I choose to be with my thoughts and affirm that I am separate. But I am willing to be satisfied with this little piddly thing of my own thoughts. Because I can get a little high from it. I can get a little tweak of, wasn't that clever? Wasn't that smart? I'm somebody. Mm-hmm. Instead of, I'm nobody. I'm nobody, thank God. I'm nobody. And all of love is here. No one in the truth wants to wake up in the morning and make an unconscious decision of today is a day that I will promote self-hatred. That would be insane. And yet, in the refusal to follow the truth of love, in the refusal to give your day completely into the hands of God, and all day long, check in. Where would you have me be? What would you have me do? What would you have me say? How can I bless? I'm here to learn. I'm here at the foot of knowledge. Show me the way. I don't have dominion over aspects of my life. Oh, I'm an expert in this. Or I know this stuff. Here, I'll take care of this. I can handle this part. It's self-deception. Mm. That's all that it is. And yes, in the journey of love, every beloved has to recognize the self-deception in order to choose not to be self-deceived. It's essential. Because only you can make that choice and no longer deceive yourself. God isn't deceiving you. Love isn't deceiving you. And all thoughts are your own making. Mm. So to accept and forgive yourself for deceiving yourself is essential. Today I will make no decisions by myself. Who else are you going to make them with? Except the Spirit of love. Today I will make no decisions myself. Yes, is it a a journey, a practice that is deep and powerful? Absolutely. Is it a journey that is unlike any journey that's in this world? Absolutely. Does it have any relationship to the sleep state of most beloveds that are believing in their world of separation and suffering in that world, fearful of everything? Yes, it's a journey deep, deep devotion, deep trust, deep faith. Yes. And deep commitment, deep devotion. Absolutely, it is. But when you question yourself, what do you truly want? What is it that you came here for? What is your life really about? You won't deceive yourself in that moment, more than likely, unless you're in a really big rebellion at the moment. But when you ask yourself that question, what is it that I truly want? And where is my devotion in this moment? Are habits so enthralling that they're worth delaying your remembering and coming home to the freedom of love? Are they so important that you would delay the truth of love? Is it a devotion and dedication to step out of the habits of your everyday practice of living the ego life? What are those habits? It's a trance state that just does its list. This is how I live, by a list in my mind that runs my life. And I check it off constantly to make sure that I'm following the rules of my lists that I've made up. And every time I step out of a habit, I don't like not being in charge. I don't like that concept of not being in charge, so I go back. I get scared, I go back. I believe fear has power. And I give allegiance to that fear and to my knowing in that self-deception. And the child, not the innocent child, but the fretful child that everyone turns back to because that's the past. The fretful child says, I don't like this. I just want magic. I want magic to just fix this instead of having to pay attention. But magic isn't love, and it can't just be fixed like magic in the fantasy of a child, because you made up this barrier. You made up a protective shield that you have come to realize is the belief of separation. And you demonstrated it through the identity as a body. That's part of the shield, part of the protective belief that a defense is needed. To trust and open your heart and to follow God's direction is the leap of faith, of trust, that God will not leave you without, and that God will lead you. Spirit will lead you in every moment that you truly ask. The peace of God is everything that I want. Will redirect you to the next step, which says, if I want peace, show me the way. Show me the way. The voice of guidance is as loud as your willingness to listen. Does it take patience and trust to listen? Absolutely, because the chatter of the mind and the resistance that is running underneath is tenacious. So you have to keep choosing. I want to listen. I want to hear. I'm willing to let go of the resistance, because the resistance is not on the side of God. The resistance is in the fear of not being in control, as if there is actually something to control, because there's nothing to control. In the flow of love, what would there be to control? Mm-hmm. In the flow of love, imagine that spontaneously there would be a mass acceptance and a healing of hundreds of beloveds in the same moment. Awakening. Being in that oneness of love. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't need lights on intersections, because every beloved would be in the awareness of perfect harmony and balance. All the rules that you have made up in the world would disappear, because the made-up world would disappear. And light and joy and peace would dance in perfect harmony until the body was ready to be let go, not out of trying to hold on, but in the willingness that, oh, done with that. Let's dance. Let's dance and keep dancing. Wonderful words, enlightened words will take birth from you. But you can't birth these divine words of God in a system that is run by a fearful, separate identity and mind that is filled with its own knowing. Love can't speak. Love can't dance. Love can't see without that letting go. To stop deceiving yourself that there's a problem. How many times a day do you believe that you see a problem when there is no problem? How many times a day do you spend time with perceptions of problems instead of immediately, as soon as you think there is something of a problem, that you would immediately take the medicine and surrender that belief into the hands of God. Surrender the situation into the hands of God. There's no problem here. I surrendered it to God. I'm not in charge. I surrendered it to God. God will show the way of what's most helpful. God will reveal the way. The miracles of love will illuminate everything of every day. When miracles are not occurring, something is wrong. Because miracles are happening all the time and are available all the time. But they're in surrender. Not except for this area over here. This is my domain. I run this. I have to figure these things out. As if anything in the universe was not in the domain of God. Everything that exists at all is the light of God. Everything. Do not deceive yourself in the belief of separation. Honesty leaves deception. Honesty of accepting the truth. I cannot be hurt. I cannot be unfairly treated. Nothing is out of harmony except in my own mind. What am I believing? What am I choosing in this moment? To align with the light that is the truth of the universe? Or am I aligning with my past in what I think I know? To hold on and preserve my separate identity and my concept of worth that I still want to prove. Is it an addiction? Yes, it's an addiction. It has all the properties of addiction. All the properties of addiction are in every thought of separation, because those ideas have a perception that they're going to give you something, just like a drug. And when you focus your attention on knowing and being in control and being in habit, it's the same thing as any addiction. To trust, honesty. Honesty means consistency. Consistency is being honest with yourself. The consistency of asking, the consistency of wanting to be led, the consistency of stepping out of the habits of the past. Does everybody have the same habits? Absolutely. Yeah, they can look a little different. They only look a little different so you think everybody has different ones. So that you can be right again that everybody's different. But truly it's all the same. All the habits are the same. It doesn't, nobody has special habits or a special difficulty. The ego would like you to believe that your life is more difficult to heal than somebody else's life. And you've bought that. You've bought it because the world holds it as real. The world compares and gives levels and degrees to problems. Oh, this person is really a problem. This person is really way out there and off the charts. This person is the one that is holding us all back. This is the one that has limitations. These limitations are more than everybody else's limitations. This is about specialness. This is much harder to heal. Mine is no comparison. Mine's much harder to heal than yours. You don't understand the depth of my damage. This is how the mind works in its insanity. Or it can go to the other side of the coin. If there's nothing wrong with me, I got it all together. I'm good, I'm in charge, I got it. Look at me, I'm so put together. I figured it all out. Why I'm not a CEO, I don't get, but I was robbed. Because I should be a CEO, I have it so together. I've got this world figured out. Ask me. I'll tell you everything that is so smart. I don't need healing, thanks very much. I got it going. But every beloved will come to the realization that this is not it. And it will not be that my story, my pain, my damage is worse and can't be healed, or I've got it so together that there's nothing to heal. Everyone will come to the realization that there is nothing that the power of love cannot transform and must be transformed. To open to the freedom, to open to the light, to open to the harmony that is the magnificence of the universe and the truth of eternal infinite life. To live among the stars, to move through the wind, to be one with the oceans, to hear the divine light that lives in the rivers and in the earth. But you can't hear. You can't hear the beloveds and the truth of these beloveds. You can't hear. You can't see through the senses that the ego has made. Vision must open. Vision and love must open because they're one. The willingness to be led, to be shown the way. How could you possibly have a clue of the way? None of us in sleep could have known the way. It's not possible. We must be led. And we will be led when we ask to be led. Moment to moment. I will follow, you will lead me. I'm willing. Laying down all self-deception. And the willingness to see the self-deception for what it is. What do I think I know? What am I assessing? What am I concluding? What am I looking at and making a decision of what I think I know about that? And holding it in limitation and separation and refusing healing. Refusing to allow the light of God to take and show me the way. Love doesn't refuse. Are there barriers? Are there resistances within you? Absolutely. But if you don't want those resistances, they will disappear. The only reason those resistances are there is because you've believed that the resistances are worth something, that they have validity, that they keep you in the belief that your safety is there, when it's erroneous. It's upside down. And that's one of the major elements of healing that has to be deeply accepted through faith, that the resistance is all made up and that everything that you think you know is upside down. Everything. That's why you can't trust your mind. Someday, my sweet Hafiz, all the nonsense in your brain will dry up like a stagnant pool of water beneath the sun. This was not a criticism. This was a prayer from the Master to his beloved, promising, comforting with this offering. My sweet Hafiz, one day your brain will dry up and we will dance in that glory that your brain has dried up, that your knowing has left the building, that it can't be found. I've had beloveds say to me that have believed that they knew me in the past, and they will conjure up a memory of some certain activity or some certain situation, and there's no memory of it. And they see it through something being missing. The love is remembered. The love of every beloved is remembered. What else is there to remember? And yet, in the wisdom of the light, when something is helpful to be brought in for teaching, it shows right up. And yet that memory is not sitting in this stagnant pool of water as an identity from the past. Fantasizing and reveling in a false identity, remembering false memories of separation. Take it all. Take it all. And let there only be the light of God and truth and honesty. Divine light, take it all. And not even leaving, take all these bad memories and then leave me with all the things I like. No. It's empty, this world that I've made up in all of its levels and degrees and limitations and identities and roles that I've assigned to everybody for centuries and centuries and centuries. Let them all go. And leave only the truth here, dear Lord. Leave only the truth. And it will be so. Because God will never deny you the truth when you want it. What do I truly want is the question for every day. When you wake up in the morning, what do I truly want in this day? What is my dedication to in this day? To serve love, to remember love, to bless, to comfort in the truth of love. And let no words come from my mouth that convey anything else. Wonderful words, enlightening words will take birth from you when your heart is given and you recognize, I don't know anything. And then love can tell you of itself. Love will come to the empty mind and to the open heart in remembering.
Mm.
And the remembering will be complete in the mysteries of transformation.
Mm.
God's will for you is peace and joy now. But peace and joy are in surrender. Peace and joy don't come from knowing. Peace and joy don't live with strategies and assessments and opinions. All that keeps doing is engendering fear. I have to know more. Never does the ego say, please, no less. No, the ego keeps saying, no more. Keep grabbing at knowing. Keep assessing everything, because all knowing is about safety. It's all about trying to be safe in a world that you believe is cruel, in a world that you believe is dangerous, in a belief that you live in scarcity. None of this is true. This is why all knowing has to be surrendered, to open to the abundance, to open to the peace, to the joy, to the harmony, to the light, to the innocence that you are. The infinite, eternal light that you are. Is it enough to be the infinite, eternal light? Yeah. Yeah. Beyond your wildest dreams, the freedom of love. And it is you. It is you. It is what you have always been. You've never been anything else. Why hold on to a nightmare of illusion that makes no possible anything? And why would you want to reincarnate again? To battle with the same beliefs, to battle with the same identity crises when you are the light of God. The power of love can transform anything. The power of love is a power. It is the power of the universe. It is what is the universe. It's why the stars can be seen. It's why the rivers run. It's why the ocean and its depths within it is all light. All light. The willingness to open to the mysteries of the universe and stop fighting and being irritated when the divine calls you a pregnant woman. Ah, there's a mystery here. God, show me. Teach me. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to kneel at your feet. Show me. And all the divine teachings, all the divine truth of love will cover you in its blanket of truth will permeate into every cell of your being and transform everything. That's the power of your willingness. That's the power of your yes. It has nothing to do, and there is no power in your knowing. Your knowing is what holds you in separation, in the belief that separation is real. But it has no truth. It has no reality. It's just a revolving door, the same tired, yada yada yada, nothing there. Bless it, forgive it, step away.
Mm.